Hey, welcome to my channel. I am so happy that you clicked on this video because in this video I am doing part 1 of a 3-part mini-series about Maya Millete, a wife and mom of 3 who has been missing 95 days today, April 12th, 2021, from Chula Vista, California. Now, before I get into this video, I want to pause right here and remind you to make sure that you have already changed that red subscribe button to gray. And when you ring the notification bell, choose the all option because I promise you won't want to miss parts 2 and 3 in this mini series about Maya. Go ahead and smack that thumbs up while I explain how I'm doing this 3-part mini series. So in this part 1, I'm going to tell you everything I know about Maya Millete up to today. In part 2, I'm doing a spirit box session to reach out to my spirit guides and any other spirits, possibly even Maya, if she's a spirit, to get help, to find answers about how we can find Maya, what happened to Maya, and hopefully help Maya's family get something to work with. Then in part 3, I'm going to review everything that the spirits told me. I'm going to try to decide if Maya reached out during my spirit box session and see what clues, details, and answers the spirits gave me. So again, make sure that you've hit the all option on the notification bell so that you will be one of the first to hear what happens in part 2 and 3. Okay, let's do this. Maya, aka May, is a 39-year-old wife to her high school sweetheart, Larry Millete, and a great mom to her 2 daughters, who are 9 and 11 years old, and her son, who is just 4 years old. May loves driving her Jeep Wrangler, and she loves playing her guitar and singing.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you.
She enjoys any type of adventure, including riding her own dirt bike. May is a defense contractor at the naval base in San Diego. Larry also had been a corpsman at the naval base. May's sister said that Larry works at the Navy hospital. May really enjoys her job. I've heard her sister refer to when she goes to work, she acts like she's going to a party. She really loves her job. Now, May has 5 siblings. She is the youngest girl. So on Saturday, January 9th, 2021, when May wasn't communicating with her family, they knew something was wrong. May's husband, Larry, had stated the two were having some marital problems for about a year now. There's even a rumor that May had an appointment with a divorce lawyer the week after she was reported missing. May's family has said that they knew the marriage was pretty rocky since they had witnessed verbal altercations between May and Larry. They said the most recent argument that they witnessed was on Sunday, January 3rd, 2021, over May's Jeep, which she loved greatly. May and Larry bought the Jeep on a family camping trip with May's oldest sister, Maricris, and her family. They had all gone on this trip to the glamorous sand dunes. May's family said both May and Larry really wanted to drive the Jeep on the dunes on January 3rd. But instead of them driving together, Larry took off in the Jeep, leaving May behind. He would take a short break occasionally to ask May a question, but then they would end up arguing, and so he would take off again. And this happened all day long, so May did not get to enjoy her Jeep at all that day. Okay, so let's skip forward to Thursday, January 7th, 4 days after the family trip to the dunes. May and Larry had another big argument. This is rumored to be when May decided that she had had enough and she wanted to start the divorce process. May was said to be seen at home around 5 p.m. that day, Thursday, January 7th. Now, the family had another large family trip coming up on January 9th, that following Saturday, just 2 days later. May and Larry's oldest daughter was turning 11, and the whole family was going to go to Big Bear Mountain to celebrate. May always planned the vacations since she was so very organized, and May never missed her children's birthdays. Larry, May, their 3 children, and some of May's family, including her sister Mary Chris, her brother-in-law Richard, they were all attending. May had a special Facebook Messenger chat for the whole family, including her parents, so that they could all keep in close contact, especially when a trip was planned. So the family was very concerned when May stopped messaging with them in that group chat. Her brother decided to stop by May and Larry's home to check on her on Friday evening. May's daughter said that they had not seen their mother since Thursday night. He was told that May was in her bedroom, so he went up and knocked on her door. Her bedroom door was locked, and she didn't answer the door, and the room looked dark. So he thought that she must have just been sleeping. So he left. On Saturday morning, May still hadn't messaged anyone or called anyone, and online it showed that May had not been active. So now her family is really concerned and worried. May's parents stopped by May and Larry's house on Saturday around lunchtime. When her dad went up the stairs to her door, it was still locked, and May still wasn't answering or opening her door. So Larry said that he looked around and found the key to that door. When they unlocked it and opened it, May was not in her bedroom. Larry told May's parents that he assumed maybe May went hiking, or to brunch with a friend, or maybe even wine tasting. He said that someone either picked her up or she walked somewhere because both of their vehicles were still in the driveway. But this only made her family more worried. They questioned why she would leave without telling her children bye, why she wouldn't have responded to any of their messages. And they all knew that she would never miss her daughter's birthday celebration, especially this trip that she had worked so hard to plan. As Saturday very slowly got closer to Sunday, May's family, especially her sister, knew something was most definitely wrong. At this point, her cell phone was going straight to voicemail, and it had been 2 days since anyone had seen or talked to May. The family knew that May would never willingly not speak to them or her children for 2 whole days. And remember, her car was still parked in the driveway. So at 11:18 p.m. that Saturday night, January 9th, May's sister, Mary Chris, called the police. And the police arrived about 2 hours later, making it around 1 a.m. on Sunday, January 10th. After getting all the details about May and finding out that May was last seen on Thursday, 2 days before, the police immediately started a missing persons report. There were social media posts made, signs being hung. May's community rallied together to start searching for May. Larry told the police the last time that he, quote-unquote, visually saw May was around 5 p.m. on Thursday. Now, Larry also stated that he knew that May was in the home on Friday, even though he didn't visually see her, because he could hear her with the kids in another room, and he also heard her in the kitchen making dinner for herself. But this didn't match up with what the children told May's family when they were trying to knock on her door on Friday and Saturday before Larry had stated this. He also stated that they have a 3,000 square foot home that is 2 stories with lots of bedrooms. He also said that since they had been having marital issues, that he was giving May, quote-unquote, space per her request, according to him, and that they were more like, quote-unquote, roommates. So it wasn't odd to him if they didn't physically see each other every single day, even though they've been married for 21 years. So what do you think about this? What do you think so far about everything that we know? We know that May has not been seen or heard from in 2 days, 48 hours. That Larry states that he heard May in the home on Friday, but he visually last saw her on Thursday. May's daughter stated that she last saw her mother on Thursday night. How can Larry say that he and May coexisted in their home, tending to a 4-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 10-year-old? But he didn't see her some days? 4 days after May was reported missing, Larry did his first interview. Now, I'm going to play this interview for you. The YouTube channel called The Interview Room played this interview, and that's where I got this clip from. I will link that channel in the description box because I am going to be referring to a lot of information that I got from that channel in multiple different videos, and I'm going to try to combine all of that into this one video here. So, in my opinion, in this interview, I want you to pay close attention to Larry's emotion about May. Pay attention to how he seems to be focused a lot on himself. And also, I want you to count how many times you hear Larry refer to May by her name. All right, let's listen to that interview now.
Just kind of go through this for a couple of minutes and let it run. Okay?
When did you first notice that May was missing?
Saturday morning.
Okay. And tell me,
her parents came by.
just tell me, kind of walk me through like the last time you saw her and what was going on.
Thursday night, like we got into a kind of an argument. And we've been having, like problems, for about a year. Kind of like been up and down and stuff like that. But after that, I give her space.
So just tell me, so you got into an argument and then, the last time you saw her was actually in the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Thursday.
So she didn't take a vehicle.
No.
No one saw her leave.
No, but on Friday, I could still hear her, but I didn't physically see her when I got home. But that's like normal too, because we have lots of bedrooms, it's a 2-story house, and we kind of I give her space. So, but that's why every time someone says Thursday, yes, it's physically, or visually see her, but for me, it's Friday night. I can hear her wrestling around, making dinner for herself in another bedroom. I'm sleeping with the kids in another bedroom.
Okay.
So upstairs and she's downstairs, kind of deal, kind of like a roommate thing. It's kind of like giving each other space. Well, sure. I don't need the space. She always wants the space.
Got it. So it was like Friday, and then you left or went somewhere, and then came back, and she wasn't there, right?
Yes. Okay. I left her with my 2 girls because they do their homeschool, and then I just had my son with me. So when I came back, she was still there on Friday. We can hear her downstairs, after I'm done giving the kids baths and feeding them and everything, and on Saturday morning, when her parents came by, her door was locked. I found the keys to the bedroom, and I opened it, and she was already gone. So maybe she went to a morning sunrise hike, because she didn't go jeeping because that's one of her other hobbies, the Jeep group, and she would have taken that. So assumed maybe one of her friends picked her up, and they went hiking or wine tasting. She likes to go wine tasting in Temecula. That's her other thing. Or brunch, early morning. Yeah. After that, at night, we're, okay, she hasn't come home yet. Which is sometimes okay. She'd go out maybe for drinks or something. She usually doesn't drink a lot, but recently she's been, doing that. The latest she would be home 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning. After that, it's kind of out of the ordinary.
Sure.
So my sister-in-law was recommending, hey, maybe we should call the cops now. I was like, well, give her some time. But we initially got to the police report. They're like, hey, you got to check the hospitals first. So this is like around 12 o'clock at night. And it's like, okay, they start checking the hospitals. 12:30, they finally filed the police report. And I was like, well, maybe give her some time, because I'd call like at 4:30 because, give her some time if it's really, really out of the ordinary. Yeah, so after that, they started the investigation. Well, 3 cops came. I let them search the house. They looked all the houses, all the cars, and then we just been waiting. And then I got the NCIS called me, and then he was able to search the house and everything. My in-laws have been here the whole time. They start doing the neighbors, the cameras and everything, trying to figure out if when she left, like they can't, everything, trying to figure out if when she left, like everything, trying to figure out if when she left, like they can see it, but they can't really because it was nighttime kind of deal. We're just basically trying everything and anything, trying to find her.
Well, Larry, just tell me, how worried are you, and what do you think happened? Where do you think she is?
Before I wasn't really worried. I was kind of like worried, but I wasn't like totally worried until the birthday. I was thinking, okay, maybe like she's just going off steam, just like doing what she told me before, where she wants everyone to leave her alone. Because before I used to get her family involved, like, hey, she's not coming home. And then why'd you call my family? I just want everyone to leave me the thing alone. But, I was like, okay, this time I think she stepped up her game. Like she's blocking everyone. But now that, she missed our daughter's birthday, and like with all this pressure with the media and everything, there's something keeping her from contacting us. So my sister-in-law is, I don't really try to think about that stuff because it's like mind-numbing, but I'm trying to stay positive. But, when people are telling me, hey, maybe she got into an accident while she's hiking, and she can't get her phone, like, well, her phone would be right next to her, like she wears fabletics, so it would be in her pocket. So worst case scenario, I don't know what's keeping her from, contacting anyone, but this pressure should be enough pressure to say, hey, you guys, I'm okay.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure what to think, but, I'm still trying to, keep my head up, trying to say, hey, keep positive and say, I'm hoping, like she'd just come home, even though this whole situation is embarrassing. I don't know what to think, but the longer it's going, the more like surreal it gets, because, what they say is like the first 48, 72 hours is the most critical. I've seen enough movies and, documentaries about this kind of stuff. So like, the worst case scenario is basically, something's happened, like very terrible, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right. I mean, how worried are you? Do you think there's still a chance that she could voluntarily have left and she just needs time? How worried are you?
That's what I'm hoping for. And this is like really whoa, come on, why did you have to do this, the whole thing? But I'm really worried and shaken. But again, like most of the time it's just numbing, like, surreal kind of deal. I'm just worried about her and, trying to keep things normal with the kids, because I know they don't show it, but, it's really affecting them. So.
When she didn't surface for your daughter's birthday, that was really unlike her.
That was the pinnacle. Yeah, that was like a gut-wrenching feeling. And, you break down a little bit. It's like, well, she would never, not even say, hey, honey, happy birthday, kind of deal. So.
And they've, and your 11-year-old's old enough. Has she asked? Like, are they asking?
Yeah, she's asking, but she's kind of like me, keep herself in the shell. Don't really want to, open up.
How many times has she left before, and how long has it been?
In the past, like before, she would just like stay at the park or park somewhere, or go like in the parking lot. And the that's years back. Even this past year, she just stay away. This year, she'd like go out, drink with her friends, or stay at a friend's house, and try to sleep it off. Couple months. She's been, like wanting her space, so she'll go out with family to places, and she'll just go out for days and stuff like that. But at least I know where she's at.
So how when she's gone, right? So, but when she has left, how long? What is the longest she's been gone for?
Like maybe a day for like till 2:30 or 3:00 in the morning kind of deal.
So never more than a day or two.
Oh yes, never more than a day.
Okay, never more than a day, and then you always kind of knew where she was at. Okay.
Not more than a day. Okay. Basically, or the next day. Again, I always tell her we have 3 kids. You can't be doing this kind of stuff, and she would never be that irresponsible not to say, "Hey, I'm okay."
Was there anybody that wanted to hurt her? Was there any other guy? I hate to ask, but I don't know. I told the police, she really likes hiking. Okay. Wine tasting, so Temecula and stuff like that. But I don't know what else to think. Like, who would, kidnap her? Or would she go hiking by herself?
She has, yes, but that's the ones like close to the house. We have a hiking trail in San Miguel Park, or San Miguel right here. That's the only time she would go by herself. And yes, she has before in the beginning, but she would take her car. So she would go to the one, I don't know, the Santee one or the one in the Mesa. I forgot. There's a mountain there. Yeah. But, yes, those ones she would go by. So, but most of the time she would go with hiking moments with Shane. And then, she's like one of the leaders. And then everyone else is like, whoever shows up to that group. So she was a pretty experienced hiker. Not experienced. She was training for this hike that me and her tried when, like, 10 years ago before we had kids. Mm-hmm. Down the Colorado River and the Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it takes about a day to go down there. So she's been hiking and hiking. It's kind of her stress relief. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to do this, like a 7 hiking trail, like, Twin Sisters, Devil's Peak, or Potato Chip Rock, and all the ones that she keeps mentioning. And I was like, well. But she would have taken her car, or there would have been a friend. Or yes, exactly. If she didn't have her car, a friend would have to pick her up. Okay. So that's the only reason why I was like, maybe she's wine tasting or hiking with a friend, because she's not jeeping because her car's here. Right. She has her own vehicle, and she has a Jeep that she specifically goes for Jeep groups. So what has this been like, Larry, just emotionally for you? I know you said you're kind of just numb and you're trying to take care of 3 children, but I mean, how are you doing emotionally with this? I mean, this is... Trust me, I've been emotionally, physically, mentally drained. It's no sleep, not eating. Just my face looked like it just aged, like, I don't know. But, the main thing is I can't really think straight.
Is that where we're at, Dale? Or we got more? How was that?
That's it.
Man, I was about ready to get, fall out of the chair. I love this guy.
Okay, so what did you think about that interview? What do you think happened to May this far, knowing everything that we know right now? How do you feel about Larry after hearing his one and only interview? Still, 95 days later, this is the only interview that Larry has done publicly. How do you feel knowing that? And how do you feel after hearing everything that he said happened? Did you notice his words when he said that they kind of had a fight? It seemed that he was really trying to minimize the events that led up to the day that May was reported missing. What is your gut telling you? I know that my gut is saying a lot, and I have a very bad feeling that we will hear May in part 2 of this mini-series when I do the Spirit Box session. Okay, so let's fast forward to January 20th. Larry spent several hours answering questions for the police, but we still don't have very much to go on in this case at this point from the police, even after Larry's interview with them. It seems that law enforcement is keeping everything very, very close to the vest. Now, on January 21st, the family announced that they hired a private investigator to help in May's search. On January 23rd, a search warrant was served, finally, on the Millete family home, just 3 days after Larry's interview with the police. The police never did share what they did or didn't find during the search. On February 3rd, human remains were found in Santee, a neighboring community nearby. The family had to wait until the next day, February 4th, to find out that those remains were not May's. As the community is outperforming searches, flyers being hung and passed out, the private investigator hard at work, Larry decides to delete pictures from May's social media. Now, also in the first part of February, Larry started to become uncooperative with the police, not being helpful to the police to try to find his wife. He also retained an attorney. Since Larry got his attorney, May's sister stated that Larry has only let them see May's kids one time, and he stopped responding to text messages and phone calls from May's entire family, including her father. Now remember, he's been a part of May's family for 21 years. Before he married May, he went to May's father and asked for his permission to marry May. So they had respect for one another. They had built a bond over 21 years. And now, all of a sudden, he's just not responding. He also does not and has not helped out on any of the search parties to look for May. May's sister decided when Larry stopped all communication that she had better stop by the house to check on the kids and Larry. She said that when she saw the kids, it was very awkward. Usually the kids would greet her running with open arms. This time, she said they just stood there and stared at her with blank expressions. Total opposite of what their quote-unquote normal was. And she noticed that Larry didn't want the kids to answer any questions. Now, Mara Chris told Chris from the Interview Room channel that she and Larry spoke on night one, and he asked Mara Chris to handle all of the news interviews and the searches so that he can focus on taking care of the children. Over Valentine's Day weekend, the owner of a local helicopter business donated his time and his services and flew May's family over the Glamis Dunes to look for May or any clues. But unfortunately, they were not able to find anything. Also in mid-February, the FBI was consulted and started assisting with the case, but law enforcement still hasn't named any suspect at all. On February 23rd, a billboard was put up in Chula Vista, as you see in this picture. There are 2 pictures of May, along with May's name, and the information to contact the police with any information about May. On February 26th, a very well-known private investigator that has worked a lot of well-known cases, Bill Garcia, arrived in Chula Vista to help with interviews and locate anything, including leads or any clues about May. He stated that he got involved when he was asked why he hadn't been involved yet in May's case by several people. He decided to volunteer his services pro bono, free of charge. He uses a drone to cover large areas much faster. Garcia thinks that there is a possibility that May might have been kidnapped. On February 28th, May's family set up 4 total search parties. During one of these searches, bones were located on a hiking trail. The bones were confirmed later to be animal remains by a homicide detective. On March 2nd, May's brother-in-law, Richard Droulet, stated that they had stopped using their private investigator that they had originally hired. Richard stated that their private investigator wanted to interview the Millete's neighbors, but the police were firmly against it. Why do you think that the police were so adamant about this private investigator not interviewing the neighbors? Do you think that there's a neighbor with security cameras that caught something like Larry loading May into his vehicle? That's where my mind goes after the Watts case. But I'm very curious what pops in your mind when you hear that the police absolutely do not want the private investigator to interview neighbors of the Millete's home. We can ponder this further in the comment section, so leave me a comment and let's continue our chat down there about this. Okay, as of today, Monday, April 12th, May has been missing for 95 days, with no leads that have been made public and only one interview from Larry. That's not a lot for us, the true crime / paranormal, or true crime and normal, as I call it, community to work with. May's family is still very dedicated to searching for May every single day. Larry, on the other hand, seems just like another husband with a missing wife, like Barry Morphew, like Chris Watts was, like Scott Peterson was, or what truly scares me, like Josh Powell was. Now, if you don't know about Josh and Susan Powell, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and hit the all option when you ring my bell, because I will be doing my second mini-series about Susan and her 2 beautiful baby boys. Josh Powell was a monster. I strongly believe that Josh killed his wife, hid her body, and then he ended up taking his own life along with his 2 sons, because the boys could tell the police information about their dad killing their mommy, allegedly. He kept those boys away from Susan's family as much as he could until CPS stepped in and removed the boys from Josh. But Josh still had visits with the boys, and that's when he murdered his own children and himself. Now, I pray that May's 3 babies are safe. And if they're not, they need to be put in a safe location right now. I am very worried. With May's children being much older than Susan's, I am so worried that they know what happened to their mom, or have some idea of what happened to their mom. This puts them at risk being with Larry, in my opinion. I really feel like they should be removed from Larry's care for their safety. I know that you'll agree with me after I tell you this new information that I just learned last night about May's case. And after you watch Susan, Charlie, and Braden's mini-series coming up soon. Now, it seems that the police have been working very hard behind the scenes on May's case, just as I expected. I just found out last night, Chris from the YouTube channel called The Interview Room, which is a fantastic newer channel, and if you have not subscribed, you most definitely will want to subscribe to that channel. I will leave that link in the description box below, like I stated earlier. Okay, so Chris had a live stream that I was able to watch late last night, and I learned a lot of new information. May's sister Maricris and brother-in-law Richard Drew Lay and their attorney Billy Little Jr. joined Chris on panel. They released a lot of new information that I wasn't aware of. I'm going to try to give you the highlights, including a video of some of that security footage that we just discussed. So let me show you the clip that they shared. It seems that this clip is believed to be gunshots, 6 of them, from a large round revolver coming from the Millete house. Okay, so here's the clip.
Okay, Dylan, let's go ahead and play the tape of, the neighbor.
Okay, so could you hear those 6 shots? I know that they were a little hard to make out in this clip, but I just found another clip from CBS 8 News, and it's much more clear. So let's listen to that one. Way easier to hear all 6 shots here, right? That gave me chills. Was that Larry Millete pulling that trigger? What was he shooting? Okay, let's watch this clip of Billy and Chris explaining what they think about this clip.
Thank you. So, yeah, tee that up, Billy. Tell us what we're listening to.
Those are loud bangs. For me, it's consistent with gunshot audio that I've heard in the past. It sounds like a large caliber revolver, maybe a 357, and it sounds like about 6 shots, which would also be consistent with a revolver. And I think I'm now stepping out of my lane into your guys' lane.
Okay, I want to play this clip one more time. I want you to count the shots as you hear them, and then tell me in the comments how many shots you actually hear. And I will go into all of the details about this clip after we hear it one more time. This has been confirmed by Billy that this was from the Thursday night, the last night that Larry said he saw May physically. Now, there are rumors saying that 3 neighbors allegedly called 911 stating that they heard gunshots at around 10 p.m. that night.
And if it's coming within a geographic region of where a person went missing. My understanding, there may have even been some 911 calls that came in to check the area, that the officers may have responded to that area.
And I say that they're rumors because that has not been confirmed yet, but Billy did state that they have requested documentation from the police department showing the 911 calls, maybe the recording of the 911 calls, but they are reaching out for confirmation of these rumors. Now, this video would have been enough probable cause for the law enforcement to remove any and all firearms from Larry and May's house, which they did when they served the first search warrant.
The first correlation is the first search warrant where guns were taken out of a residence. You need probable cause to take guns out of a house. That's probable cause that we just listened to. Now, whether that's the probable cause that they utilized, I would tell you from an investigator perspective, and Coop and Dean, you guys can weigh in here, but to me, that sounded like gunfire.
There's also rumors saying that people saw the kids allegedly playing in the backyard of the Millete home that night around 10:30 p.m. Now, Billy interviewed Larry, and Larry told Billy that he had been looking for gun cleaning equipment around the same time when May was reported missing. Now, when the attorney Billy told Larry that the police would want to do a gunshot residue test on Larry, he said that he had been doing some shooting recently. That's very suspicious, right? There was a white vehicle caught on a security camera of one of the neighbors late Thursday night, Friday morning. It was around 2:30 a.m. that resembled the exact white vehicle owned by Larry's uncle and aunt, Ricky and Kathy. The security footage caught that vehicle speeding down the road and parked in front of Larry and May's house. On Saturday, April 10th, around 6 a.m., the police kicked in a door to serve another search warrant. And I believe that it's at least the second one at Ricky and Kathy's house. Chris stated that the police had to show evidence of something to get that warrant approved by the judge. Do you think that it was the video of the vehicle? Things are starting to add up a little bit more here, right? Now, Billy Little Jr. stated that Larry had been watching May very closely for the last year and a half. Larry was monitoring May's every move, including watching in real time her credit card charges. If he saw that she went out to eat, he'd look at the total. And if the total was too high, in his opinion, he would confront May about it and say things like, "This bill was too high for 3 people. Who was the 4th person?" Larry even had a tracker put on May's car. But the day that she, quote, goes missing, he has no idea where she is. Really? Okay. Anyway, for the last 2 months, Billy has been working with Chris and the Cold Case Foundation, which you can find more information about this at coldcasefoundation.org. Billy stated that within 30 hours of May going missing, that Larry was getting rid of a freezer from their garage, and that this freezer is now at Ricky and Kathy's house. And Billy confirmed that it is the same freezer when he went to Ricky and Kathy's house himself. He also stated that he smelled a strong odor of bleach when he was in their home. He stated that the house wasn't like super dirty, but it didn't look like a house that was cleaned with bleach on a regular basis. I also found this news interview from the same news station, CBS 8, with Billy. Now listen to what he explains that he saw when he was at May and Larry's house. We'll watch this and then I'll share my thoughts on what he said he saw.
A lawyer working with the family of a Chula Vista mother who has been missing for nearly 3 months is talking with News 8 about the case.
As News 8's David Goffredson reports, the attorney conducted a walkthrough of Maya Millete's house 4 days after she went missing.
I went in the house. I immediately noticed the windows all open, the fans on full blast. It was chilly in the house.
Attorney Billy Little went inside the Chula Vista home of Maya Millete on Monday, January 11th, and conducted a walkthrough with her husband Larry days after the woman went missing.
I was mostly, at that point, seeing if I could smell anything, if I could smell any bleach or smell the smell of a dead body. And of course, there's absolutely no smell.
Family members confirmed they contacted Little to help them find the missing mother of 3.
When I went to the bedroom, I immediately noticed a hole probably 10 inches long by about 6 to 8 inches tall, rectangular shape that had been freshly repaired. Let's say the door is locked. You wanted to break in the door or get to the door, you could punch through that hole, reach through the other side, and unlock the door from the other side.
Inside the garage, Little says he discovered a freezer was missing.
I called Chula Vista Police and I said, "Hey, there's a freezer missing from the garage." Then there was no action, so I found the freezer myself. I went over and found it from one of Larry's relatives.
For months now, Little has been collecting evidence, including hundreds of text messages sent in 2020 by Maya's husband Larry to friends and family.
He started by complaining to family members. He started by accusing his wife of having an affair, going to her supervisor, insisting that male coworkers be moved, with absolutely no evidence that there was an affair going on.
Some of the messages included photos. This one looks like an altar with lit candles. Others include biblical quotes talking about adulterous women, like this one saying, "Her feet go down to death, her steps lead straight to the grave."
It started ramping up as 2020 went on, and as May started moving more and more towards a divorce, he became more and more desperate.
Little says the day Maya contacted a divorce attorney is the last day anybody heard from her.
There are a number of bits of information that are circumstantial in nature about this.
We reached out to Chula Vista Police. They won't talk about evidence in the case, but they did confirm they have been in contact with Little.
We are aware of the instances he's described, and he may not be aware of what our detectives have done, but we have, in fact, followed up and conducted follow-up and continue to conduct follow-up.
Now, we also reached out to Larry Millete, the husband. He texted us back, and he claims that attorney, Little, posed as a law enforcement officer to get inside his home. The attorney completely denies that. Millete also texted us a quote, "My wife is a good woman. She is missing, and everything else is just noise." Back to you.
And David, Maya has been missing for nearly 3 months now. We know her family will not stop searching for her, and they will be out again this weekend.
They'll be out at 7 a.m. tomorrow along Proctor Valley Road. They're really kind of searching blindly, and they've asked for Chula Vista Police to give them some direction on where they should search. I talked to the captain about that. He said if they had any indication, any evidence of where Maya might be, they would certainly pass it along to the family, but they just don't have any information to pass along on where to search.
Hope we get some new answers soon. Thanks, David.
So let's discuss a few things that Billy said. First, he said it was chilly in the house with all the windows open and the fans going. What smell was Larry allegedly trying to get rid of? Or is that just a normal thing in their house? And Billy said that there was no kind of any smell at all. In the bedroom, he said that he saw a hole about 10 inches long by about 6 to 8 inches tall by May's bedroom door, within reachable range of the door handle. He said it was allegedly a newly repaired spot on that wall. Why would that be there? Did May lock herself in her bedroom often? Maybe to get away, allegedly, from Larry? We know that she had a doorknob that locked from the inside and needed a key to unlock from the hallway side. Did she install that handle herself? Did Larry put the hole in the wall, allegedly, to be able to stop May from locking herself in her bedroom? Or did Larry put that hole in the wall when he was allegedly so furious that May locked herself in her room on Thursday, January 7th, so furious that he punched through the wall to get to May to allegedly shoot her? Is that hole repair one of the odors that Larry was allegedly trying to get out of the house with all the fans going and the windows open? I'm sure that he would have used paint to finalize that repair, and we all know the smell of fresh paint. Let's discuss all of these text messages from Larry to May's family and friends. Just the few that the news showed us was enough to piss me off. It appears in this one that the person that Larry is speaking to says at the top of the screen, you can barely see it and it looks like it's partially covered by something, but it appears to say, quote, "She didn't tell me anything," end quote. But Larry doesn't care. He bashes May to say his perspective, even saying, quote, "The devil has a hold on her sometimes," end quote. And notice that he used a capital D on the word devil. That says a lot, to me anyway. He bashed May's character by telling her family and friends that she was not a faithful wife. He was so insecure, allegedly, that he didn't or couldn't stop there. He even went to May's supervisor at work, her job, the place that she loved going to. She referred to her work as a party. She loved being there. And her husband contacted her supervisor and insisted to move all of the male co-workers around May. Now this part makes me furious. How embarrassing for May. Can you imagine your spouse calling your boss and saying that you can't be trusted around anyone of the opposite sex? No freaking way. I cannot believe that Larry, May's husband of 21 years, would degrade and embarrass May like this. He's told pretty much every person that May comes into contact with that May is a cheater and can't be trusted around any man. I wonder how much he's told the people at May's regular places that she visited, like the grocery store, the pharmacy, the doctor's office, or maybe even her favorite restaurant or coffee shop. I mean, can you just imagine? I really am curious what you guys think about this. Please tell me in the comments section, how would you feel if this was your spouse doing this? How would you handle this? I know what I would do. And what was that picture that Larry texted to someone? It looks like it's a picture of May and Larry together, surrounded by 4 lit candles at all 4 corners of the picture. And then there's candle wax dripped on the picture. Now, if you look at the top of the screen, you'll see that there's a cauldron with something burning in it above the picture. And I can't make out what's below the picture, but I do see sticks that they look like they're going to some are going to the right side of the picture, and then some are going towards the left side over where May is in the picture. Was Larry performing some sort of ritual here? That's kind of what it looks like to me. Now, along with texting full scriptures, Larry seemed to be very determined to make something happen. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think that Larry was trying to do? From what the news reporters said about Larry texting them, quote, "My wife is a good woman. She is missing, and everything else is just noise," end quote. Confirms to me that Larry is trying to minimize all of his actions by contradicting himself. In my opinion, saying that she's a good woman now, but in his one and only public interview, he victim bashed her as much as he could, in my opinion. Over the last year or two, in my opinion, he was bashing her to her family, friends, supervisors, co-workers, and who knows who else. Okay, now I want you to keep in mind, the freezer information is a fact because it was proven with evidence. The odor of bleach is a fact because he smelled bleach while he was in the house. The part that Billy said about the house not looking like it was cleaned with bleach often is Billy's opinion. I want us to all be very clear on what facts are and what opinions are. Facts are confirmed with factual proof or evidence, and opinions are just what people think or assume. Okay, so please remember, an opinion is not a fact. I know that I have seen a lot of people stating their opinions as facts. If someone states something as a fact, but they don't show any evidence to back it up, ask them for evidence to back it up. And if they can't provide you with evidence, or if they say, well, that's what I heard, or that's what so-and-so said, or, whatever, that's not a fact. There has to be factual evidence. And if they say that they saw factual evidence, then you can choose to believe it as a fact because you trust that person legitly saw evidence, or you can still consider it a rumor until you yourself sees the evidence with your own eyes. I choose to believe what I see. And then even when I see some things, I still may not believe it. I need it to be a hard fact with strong evidence to back it up. Now, there are some people who I would take their word, like Billy, the attorney. I would take his word. I wouldn't run with it and, run into a courtroom and say, "Judge, this attorney said, so it is a fact." But for my evaluation of this case, I'm going to believe what Billy said as facts. And I can tell the difference between what he states as facts and what he states as opinion. Because he does have opinion, just like his opinion of the home not looking like it was cleaned on a daily basis with bleach. I'm going to be doing a whole video soon focused on nothing but talking about the difference between facts and opinions. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. Billy stated that the police removed several rifles from Ricky and Kathy's. Ricky did tell Billy that he has an attorney, but he has not given Billy the name of the attorney, so that has not been confirmed yet. It does seem that there is a lot of ties between Ricky and that Thursday night that May was last seen. The freezer, multiple firearms, possibly his car, multiple search warrants. Now, Greg Cooper, who has quite the law enforcement background, including being the executive director of the Cold Case Foundation, was also on panel on the Interview Room live stream with Chris. He stated that there's typically 4 types of evidence utilized in the court of law to get a conviction. Number 1, physical evidence or forensics. Number 2, circumstantial evidence. Number 3, witness statements. And number 4, confessions. Greg explained that the profilers and investigators have added another type of evidence, which is called behavioral evidence. There needs to be at least 2 forms of evidence to support the theory that's being presented in a court of law, to prove that theory, and to make a strong case in court to get a conviction. Okay, so out of those 5 different types of evidence, if they have 2 of those at least, they can get a conviction. I know that there has been concern that if there was a murder that took place, but they have no body, they cannot find the victim or victims, people are worried that they cannot get a conviction on the murderer. Okay, well, that is absolutely not true. They do not have to have a victim's murdered body to convict a murderer. If they have at least 2 of these types of evidence, circumstantial evidence is a huge type of evidence that is used in convictions of murderers when they do not have the victim's body. Larry stalking May before she quote-unquote went missing, but seems to be clueless and not concerned about where May is now, shows a break in Larry's pattern, showing his behavioral evidence. It shows Larry's mindset and how much it has changed in an instant. Even Larry's verbiage when he spoke about May after she was reported missing and she became her, she, etc., instead of May, my wife, etc. Remember the one and only public interview that we listened to earlier and I told you to count how many times Larry said May's name? I want you to tell me in the comments below, how many times did you hear Larry say May's name in that one and only interview that he did? It is extremely suspicious that Larry told the family that they needed to wait 48 hours to report May missing. Lots of things are happening to make all of these red flags pop up all around Larry, and now around Larry's Uncle Ricky. Greg Cooper brought up in regards to Larry's suspicious behavior to evaluate everything known to the case, and specifically that Thursday night. We already know that May was talking about divorce. In Larry's own words, in the interview that we watched earlier, he stated that he and May had a fight that Thursday night. Did May tell Larry that Thursday that she was filing for a divorce? Was that the trigger that set him off? Did they get into another huge blowout and was Larry so triggered that he grabbed one of his guns, fired 6 shots, killing May? Then did he send the kids outside to play so that he could clean up a mess and possibly put his deceased wife's 5'2", 95-pound body possibly into that freezer? Did he then call his Uncle Ricky for help? All of this new evidence that we have learned from the Interview Room channel and all of the news outlets is helping put the pieces of this puzzle in place. I cannot wait to see what the spirits say in part 2 of this mini-series. I am very interested if they'll confirm some of this information that we've heard. I'm very nervous now, though. I'm getting such a strong feeling that we will hear from May on the Spirit Box. I strongly fear that Larry allegedly snapped and allegedly killed May, making her able to communicate through my Spirit Box. I so pray that I am wrong. What is your opinion about this? What are you thinking now after all of this new information? Let's chat about it further in the comments. Like, really, I am very interested in knowing what you guys think. Now, Billy had a bit more to share about Uncle Ricky. I guess that Larry and Uncle Ricky bonded over both of them having marital issues with their wives. Ricky told Billy during the interview that he's a Christian and how he's been praying. And a month later, Ricky texted Billy inquiring about any updates in the case. Billy replied back saying that he fears the worst and doesn't believe that May will be able to come home. Ricky replied, and Billy said that the text sounded exactly like Larry, saying the exact same words that Larry has said. Like they've scripted exactly what to say together. Allegedly. Chris stated that May and Larry's family didn't really ever get along. Larry's parents lived with May and Larry for several months, and they just moved out right before Christmas, like around December 9th, I believe. And they moved all the way from California to Texas before Christmas. Chris was kind of shocked by this because she said that, if that were her, she would want to stay with her family through Christmas and then move that far away. But Larry's family didn't. They moved out before Christmas. Larry has made it very clear to everyone that he believes that May was being unfaithful in their marriage, which put even more of a strain on the relationship between May and her mother-in-law. That leads me to this last thing. Fox News reported something very important to the evidence of this case, so I'm going to just read this article really quickly with you. A source tells Fox News that Maya Millete's husband suspected her of having a boyfriend, and that's where the accusations against Larry Millete take an even darker turn. The witness who heard the conversations firsthand told Fox News exclusively that Larry Millete frequently discussed paying someone $20,000 to kill his missing wife's alleged boyfriend. Larry Millete, quote, seemed pretty serious, end quote, the witness said about the alleged murder for hire plot. He allegedly started concocting the plan last summer when he first suspected his wife was seeing someone else, but mentioned it as recently as January 4th, just a few days before Maya went missing. One of Maya Millete's family members said Larry Millete made threatening comments about the alleged boyfriend last summer, saying, quote, "I want to do something to that fool," end quote. Larry Millete did not respond to the multiple questions from Fox News about the alleged murder for hire plot. Despite the threats against Maya Millete's alleged boyfriend, the witness said he never feared for Maya's safety, but Maya told family members on a camping trip just days before she went missing, quote, "If anything happened to me, it would be Larry," end quote. The witness talked to Fox News on the condition of anonymity because they fear for their safety. I can't say that word. A Chula Vista Police Department spokesperson said they are aware of the alleged murder for hire plot and are investigating it along with other leads in the case. The alleged boyfriend could not be reached for comment. Anyone with information should call the CVPD at 619-691-5151 or Crime Stoppers at 888-580-8477. Now, I think that covers every detail that I know about Maya Millete's case. This case really hit my heart a lot harder than I expected. Now, I know that this video has a lot of information, but if you're still here, please leave me a comment with the word squad in it, even if that's the only thing your comment says. I want to be able to thank you properly for listening to this entire video. This will show me who is really interested in helping me get answers about what happened to May. So now that we know all of this new information, I cannot wait to read your comments. What concerns me right now most is May's 3 children and their safety with Larry. Like I said, this case reminds me too much of Susan Powell's case. And as I stated earlier, I'm already working on the miniseries for Susan and her sons, Charlie and Brayden. It will probably be a 4-part series due to the double tragedy. First, Susan went missing, and then a couple years later, that's when Josh killed his children and himself. And I'll explain all of that in the series. Now, Charlie and Brayden were only 4 years old and 2 years old when Susan disappeared. They were 5 and 7 when they passed away. May's kids are 11, 9, and 4. And hearing that Larry allegedly might have sent all 3 of them outside after the alleged 6 gunshots makes me so scared that these children might know details about what happened that night with their mother. I just pray that CPS removes the kids and puts them with someone in May's family to keep them safe. Now, this is nothing against Larry personally because he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So I am not saying that. just the circumstantial evidence makes me very concerned about the children. Now, Mary Chris, May's oldest sister, stated that with 6 total siblings, that there's 16 total nieces and nephews. And they were always together, if not every weekend, then every other weekend. So going on 3 months without any communication with May is extremely hard. Also, not being able to see May's children has made this situation even harder on the whole family. And I can't imagine how May's 3 children are feeling right now, being ripped away from the family that they were so close to. And why? Why doesn't Larry want his children to be around any of May's family now? He's been a part of their family for 21 years. But their 11, 9, and 4-year-old, who have been a part of May's family for 11, 9, and 4 years, their entire lives. Why aren't they allowed to speak with May's family now? May's family can't understand why Larry is becoming a hermit and secluding himself and his children. Now, I would assume that this would be very suspicious to law enforcement also. Larry, if you are watching this, please, please speak out. Take Chris up on his offer and speak with them. Please contact May's family. It is not fair to your children to rip them away from their mom's siblings. Those are their aunts and uncles and their grandparents and all their cousins. After losing their mommy, they really need family. Now, I'm sure that you're doing your best, but please do what's best for your children, please. As for everyone else watching this video, I beg you to share this video on all of your social media platforms. We need to keep May's story alive and thriving. We need to spread May's name all around the world. The more awareness, the better chance we have of helping the police catch a lead. That lead could solve this mystery. If you have any information about Maya, aka Maya Millete, or Millete, I've heard it pronounced also, please contact the Chula Vista Police Department at 619-691-5151. You can also get on Facebook if you go to facebook.com/helpfindmay, M-A-Y. I also want to ask you to please like this video so that YouTube will share it out more. Make sure that you're subscribed and choose the all notification option so that you do not miss part 2 of the series. I promise you, you do not want to miss the Spirit Box session and my review and thoughts and opinions of what the spirits said when I do part 3. Thank you so much. I love you bunches. See you in part 2, the Spirit Box session. Hey, thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. Please make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and ring my bell if you enjoy this type of content. Leave a comment below with any questions or suggestions that you have. I do read all comments. I need your help to fit the puzzle pieces together that we learned in this video. No bad vibes here, please. No drama. My channel is a safe place for all of you. Leave your thoughts about this puzzle below in the comments so that we can figure this out together. We discuss true crime and paranormal here. I'm bringing true crime stories and missing person cases to the spirits. I'm getting the spirits to help us find answers and hopefully solve questions we all have. So again, make sure that you're subscribed and ring my bell so that you don't miss my next video. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video or the thumbs down if you didn't. Share this video out on all of your social media so that we can spread the word about this case. And don't forget to read the description box. There's a lot of great info, including the link to the Spirit Seeker Squad Facebook group and so much more. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day.